Woke up early in the morning, grabbed my coffee, now I'm roaring, ready to face the day and getting shit done in business.
All right, well, welcome to the Getting Shit Done in Business podcast by Chops Consulting. My name is Jacqui. I'll be your host today. I'm an operations specialist with Chops Consulting. I've been with the company for 2.5 years now and worked on a variety of projects across a few different industries now. We branch out into tech, operations, and marketing services for our clients. And today we've got a fantastic guest joining us. He's going to tell us a little bit more about their business and their journey as they developed it, as well as some of their challenges and how they've had to pivot in their business strategies. So I'd like to welcome, we've got Kai here today.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Kai Nurullaev. Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome to have you.
Yeah. So,
why are you telling us a little bit about your company, about your journey and how you developed Luxendary?
Yes, my company is called Luxendary, and we make custom-made iPhone cases. The journey started back in 2015. We actually started the company together with my boss as a branch of the company that I worked in for him. And so we were selling cell phone accessories, chargers, cases, and stuff like that. And we have received a couple of inquiries about white labeling products. So when we received a big inquiry from American Express, they wanted to do a collaboration with US Open on power banks, actually. And really so cool. We started. Yeah, they were giving them away. It was 10,000 pieces. And so when I started reaching out to manufacturers who could facilitate and produce an order like that, it turned out that it's probably worth investing into the equipment and just doing it ourselves. And so entrepreneur and me, trying to, save the money. So I pitched the idea to my boss. I told him, listen, how about we do this? And so another one of these projects is going to pay for the machine itself. So the printer is a commercial type of printer, prints on any surface, costs about $24,000. So we made a decision to invest into that. The deal was secure. And so we purchased the machine. I made it work. And so, yep. And after that, we started pitching to all the small businesses. Hey, this is what we do. If you want to give away cool, unique, gifts, not just keychains and pens, but actually cell phone accessories. And back then, 2016, this was something new, power banks, cases with custom design, stuff like that. So that's how we started. And then, about a year later, I wanted to launch our own brand. Instead of just printing other companies' logos, I wanted to get creative, create unique designs, print them on these cases, and sell them to consumers directly. So that's what we did. We launched our website, and actually, it was a website plus Etsy store. Etsy was
okay. So you had a shop center too.
Yes. Etsy was huge, to be honest with you, for us. And I think we were trending a couple of times as, a featured seller. And so funny thing happened with Etsy, just because everything is new. And, when you get into the creative world, you have to deal with things like trademark infringement of somebody else's design. So there was this design that I created, and it wasn't done intentionally, but it's just praying hands. You probably have seen a sticker with praying hands on the back of a bunch of cars, right? And so that was one of the designs that I had. And so I got a letter from a famous, I don't know if I can say their name, but I got a cease and desist letter from Drake and his lawyer. So apparently Drake, the artist, he has a trademark for praying hands. And so I just didn't know you could trademark something like that. And apparently after doing the research, the whole praying hands silhouette came from a famous painting, 1500 uh, 1500s. I believe the artist name is Dürer. He's a German
Okay.
artist. Yeah. So, but Drake trademarked it, and so we had to take that off the website and the Etsy store. It was our number one seller.
Oh,
Anyway,
wow. So
so
that must have been a bit of a hit.
yeah, it was a bit of a hit. It was probably generating about 80% of all the orders.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, things like that I had to, adapt on the fly. And so we had both departments going at the time, direct to consumer and business to business. And then I wanted to focus on direct to consumer because this I see as something that I could scale. And I love automating things and just using technology to
Yeah.
boost the operations. So
Looks
so
smart.
my partner didn't see it that way because his business model was, business to business. He deals directly with his distributors. And so we made a decision that uh, we are going to split the two companies. And so Luxendary would become a separate entity. So that's
Separate
what we
entity,
did.
yeah.
Yep. That's what we did. And so we parted ways, still very good friends. Hi, Steven, if you're watching. And
Oh, shout out.
yeah, so since 2018, I started, I was running Luxendary as a separate company, a brand of with our designs. And it's just iPhone cases that we decided to focus on. Initially, it was both Androids and iPhones, but iPhones were generating 95% of the orders, so it just made sense. And since then, yeah,
I'm wondering if it has
that
something to do with the type of consumer that goes for the iPhone versus an Android. Maybe they like the accessories more. I don't know.
yeah. So that's actually another reason. It's not just the market choosing iPhone versus Android. It's more of a type of a consumer, like you said, who wants to purchase a case with a unique design. So this type of consumer usually prefers to have an iPhone. So
Okay.
that's what I was
Yeah, a little bit of
basically.
market research, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Um, and so plus another trend that I noticed was every time a new iPhone comes out, we get a surge of orders for the previous model. So I'm assuming when parents get a new case, they usually give their old phone to their kids, and kids, they want the cases with designs. Because
Yeah.
if you're a grown up, you just want a solid black case, no designs, nothing extra, probably. I'm just like, assuming, but kids love the cases with designs. And
Right.
so yeah. So I
So
started,
it's interesting.
uh-huh.
The businesses would want to pivot and offer like an iPhone case, like you said, branded for a couple of different brands for a partnership deal, sponsorship. So those type of larger deals, do you find yourself pivoting more towards those deals? And are you increasing those in volume compared to like your one-off sales of like the business to consumer sales?
Yes. Thank you for actually bringing this up because initially my assumption was wrong that I should just focus on one thing and completely shut the door for the business to business. Because I have been approached multiple times by friends and family and, some of my older clients to actually do a collaboration or uh, uh, basically do a business to business type of project. And so I
Yeah.
always said, no, I'm too busy and this and that. But there were a couple of developments recently that actually made me consider this avenue. And so stay tuned. We are actually planning on officially launching a business to business service department program.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this is something that we're definitely very actively working on. Not only business to business, but also business to U.S. government agencies. I'll put it
Right.
at that. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you strategically branch out into a few different areas of services, you can tailor kind of what your product servicing will be, your marketing packages, etc. With doing that, what do you think your scaling on units is with those business to business? If you're going after like small businesses, et cetera, if a business was listening to this, what kind of orders would you be open to discussing? And should they be reaching out if they have interest?
So basically, let me just briefly tell you what type of a client that we're going after. So we're going after people who want to bring in an idea that they have, but they don't know where to go to. So this is something that is probably also known as merch. So influencers, small businesses, actually even larger Fortune 500 companies reached out to us. So we're focusing on a medium to large volume products. And so that would probably mean something like 500 to 1,000 plus units, depending on the product as well. But because of our expertise in both outsourcing and producing custom-made products in-house, we have basically gone through all the steps. And because we will work directly with businesses. I think that we can relate to questions and challenges that they are facing with both branding, maybe choosing the type of product, designing a custom product, registering a trademark. We've done that before.
Okay.
And
so curious, with those imaging creation services that you offer, is that something you do with AI? Do you have a graphic designer in-house that you work with? Is it a combination? Like, how do you customize with your client's input for whatever they want to design in that customized product?
Okay, very good question. So we recently launched our web AI designer portal. So basically, it uses Midjourney technology, and it's a text-to-image generator that you can use. However, when it comes to working directly with clients, B2B clients, then we are going to take a more tailored approach. So a graphic designer will work directly with them to make sure that everything is to their specification, all the requirements are met. Maybe sometimes, clients may not have the complete expertise, and how sometimes certain files might be a lower resolution, they don't look good. And so things like that.
You have to test all that out.
Yep. So we will work directly with them. The means of communications that they prefer, email, phone call, whatever it might be, and just make it easy for them, make the whole process as smooth as possible, and make sure that they are very happy with the results. So we get the returning business, because we've noticed that when we had happy customers, they were just coming back to us. They didn't want to go to anybody else.
And that's the way it should be, really. If I find a really good supplier that I never have to worry myself about what I'm going to get from them, because we've had clear communication, they've delivered on time, the product was good quality, I don't have any questions. I will go back to them over and over again, rather than having to try to find a new supplier every time. So definitely repeat business is the way to go. That being said, do you find you're getting a lot of referrals, either on the business to business or business to consumer side? And do you track anything like that? Do you know if you're getting a lot of business from referrals?
Yes, that's actually how everything was progressing in terms of business to business. We did one project, and then somebody else referred it to another person, and it just spiraled like that. So it made me think about, hey, we actually should look into this avenue, because it's just growing organically, and probably when we start advertising, it's going to get even bigger.
Get to grow, right?
Yeah. So referrals was actually something that I noticed. So the type of clients that we have are I would say, older generation. So people that are used to working directly with their partners, with their business partners, people who actually do phone calls, and they do enjoy being on the phone, explaining everything,
Personal connection.
as opposed to the younger generation, they prefer not to speak to you at all. Yes, yes. Why are you calling me before? You should text me before you call. And so, yeah, they take offense to that. I guess I'm only 35. I used to think that I'm young, but sometimes I have to ask my son, hey, what does that mean? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a curiosity. I know what it means, but I just want to hear,
how they interpret it. They being
Uh-huh.
a different generation, a little younger. I hear you on that one. Yeah, I hear some things about in public, and I'm like, I'm old, and that's fine. I'm A-okay with it. But I do still prefer some text, some email, and if I see someone's phoning me, I think it's important, and I will answer because they are actually phoning me.
Yeah, yeah. My son told me today, Dad, you look drippy, because I dressed up today, and I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I know what you mean, but can you explain like the origin of the word drippy? So he couldn't do it.
Even know.
Yeah, yeah. It says it's just like cool, but in a trendy way. Okay, gotcha.
Cool in a trendy way. All right.
Yeah.
I guess that in an older way. I'm old. I wouldn't know. So we had talked a little bit about some of, kind of the pivot points where you realize, strategically there's an opportunity here. Let's pivot. What do you find is your best strategy when you're having that moment in the light bulb goes on, so to speak, and you're like, let's do this, and you want to get some traction and, feet to the ground and start running? What do you do? What's your plan of attack when you how do you start? What do you need to document? How do you share it to your team, your leadership, and get them involved? Because that whole change management piece, I find working with clients is always a big frustration, a challenge. They don't necessarily know how to tackle it. And it sounds like in your business model, you have pivoted your business model a few times and or expanded off your branch of services. So that being said, there's lots of change management that goes into that. How do you start as a leader when you come up with these ideas, or your team has brought something to you that you want to implement?
Thank you for a very interesting question. So any idea is actually a product in a way. So it needs testing. It needs testing, and it needs a lot of quality assurance. So I remember when my first idea in my head was born about going directly to consumer. So I wanted to, I just had the theory, but I need to test it and make sure that my theory works and the math actually makes sense.
Right.
So what happened was I noticed that while I was increasing my catalog of different designs that we could print basically and produce. So the number of the orders was growing also together. So it was just a percentage. So let's call it an X. And so let's call the total number of catalog a Y. So if you increase your Y, it's just a certain percentage is going to grow. So what I did after that, in order to test that, because I need real, tangible data,
right,
I automated the process of creating designs. So instead of manually create different designs, I went with a more lazy route. So I started purchasing efficient. Yes, yes. So I was value engineering my resources. Let's call it that.
That's a great technique when you're looking at starting a new product, right?
So I started purchasing the designs from websites that allow to use their designs in commercial projects.
Applications, yeah.
Applications. And so I increased the number of my catalog from few hundred different variations to a few thousand. And so the sales 10x too. How far can I push it? Okay. Then I went even more efficient route. So I started creating designs with popular phrases and names in different styles, different colors. So I increased the catalog even further to a few 100,000 different variations. So the sales 100x.
Absolutely, as you expect that they would.
Yes, yes. So this is one of the testing. So I didn't want to push it further because I kept myself with production limitations, such as time. There's only 24 hours in a day.
And only how many printers, right? Like it takes
Yes,
time
I only had one at the time. So let's hold on with pushing that until we make our production more efficient. So what we did was we started working 3 shifts instead of 2 that I was doing. 3 shifts. Then we purchased a second machine. Then we tried to eliminate all the bottlenecks. And yeah, so even a catalog of few 100,000 different variations on Amazon, I need to mention that, was just capping our production. And the Q4 of 2019 was a crazy Q4. But then something unexpected happened. I don't think a lot of people expected it. COVID hit. So at the time we were in New York City. The city shut down for 5 months. It was you can go outside basically.
Right.
So
you can't go in anywhere.
Yeah. And so plus I couldn't bring in the products because the borders were shut down. So that put us in a very difficult situation. And then we lost the number 1 platform, Amazon. And so we couldn't get it back.
Right.
Long story.
Really hard when she had taken off.
Yeah. So Amazon, because Amazon was, exploding like that, it was bringing in 99% of the revenue. And we focused only on Amazon, and we basically dropped all the other platforms. So now, basically, we needed to start everything from scratch. So that was one of the first adversities, one of the first challenges, I guess, that I faced. So testing the idea was going well. However, sometimes it's worth going slower and not full force. Just because if you run into a wall, it's just going to be very painful. And
those challenges will always come up, right? I think it's having a really good team around you that can help brainstorm what you can do, be creative in your solution. So run that printer 24/7. If it means adding a 3rd shift, you add a 3rd shift. If it means adding a 4th shift because you need shorter hours per shift, you become flexible, right? And you pivot as needed for whatever you can do to get your product out there, right? And continue with those sales. With your business to business pivot, have you noticed any major challenges or roadblocks that have come up with that pivot? Or, has it been pretty smooth sailing and taking on like the white labeling mass production? By mass production, I mean working with small businesses or influencers to create content for them for their merchandise, like custom labels, etc.
So this is a relatively new program. I don't want to share too much, but regarding the challenges that could be involved in a business to business, it's a lot easier to handle, I would say, than something that you have absolutely no control over, by it being, Mother Nature or geopolitical situations.
Right.
So that's what I'm noticing. It is a little bit easier to run a business to business type of an agency company than a direct to consumer brand, when you have to deal with thousands of different people who have their own perspective, because you have to remember, everybody is coming into this from whatever journey they came from. They don't care if there was a flood in South Florida or COVID or whatever it might be. So, however, when you are working with a business owner who can relate to you a lot better, and so I think mediating conflicts like that is easier. Yeah.
And fair enough. I think dealing with 10 customers with larger orders, rather than dealing with 1,000 individuals, of course, would be a little bit easier. However, I noticed that on your website, you guys have great customer support. You can reach out for live chat as well. So for that consumer, at the end, I'm sure you guys offer fantastic support there. But then also, if you're dealing with someone doing a large scale order, having your sales team be able to be there to support them through, the creation of their logo, picking the right product, and then, figuring out what the best scale order is for them. All great services that you guys can provide to them. Any final thoughts or anything you'd like to share with the audience today on change management, pivoting strategy for your business before we sign off?
Maybe this is something that is related to everything in general, not just running a business, but just don't forget that life is basically like a video game with no rules. I'm not saying that you should break rules or break the law. No, that's not what I mean. But there's always a way. There's always a way. Just stay focused. We live in such an amazing time. We have all of these opportunities available. Probably if we brought somebody from, the artist that I just mentioned from the 1500s, they would probably think that we're magicians. They would probably have a heart attack. There's this interesting term by actually one of the partners that I worked with. They are a blogger. Their blog is called Wait But Why. You should check it out. It's an amazing blog. Wait But Why. So they introduced this interesting concept called DPU, Dying Point Unit, which means that if you bring somebody else from back in the past, they might have a heart attack and they might die. So let's say we bring somebody from 500 years ago, they might die with a heart attack. But for them, if they used our time machine and brought somebody else to their time from 500 years ago, that person wouldn't die because they would probably say, yeah, maps look differently, and you have different laws, and probably the fashion changed. But for them to have somebody experience the DPU, die point unit, they would have to go back to Stone Age before writing was invented. So what I'm trying to say is, so this curve of DPU is growing exponentially, and probably we are going to experience something like that within the next 20 years. That's what I genuinely think. I think in 20 years, we're not going to recognize the world that we live in. And it's scary. Yes, it's scary. However, it's enabling so many different things. Technology is the closest thing to real life magic. And you can utilize AI. You can use all of these beautiful tools that are available for not that much of money. Something like this, not even like this, but less powerful than this, used to be considered a supercomputer 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Which took buildings, not even rooms, buildings. And it's just, I'm a cautious optimist. So to come back to your question, very long answer, but there's always a way. Don't
I agree
panic.
with that.
Don't panic. Be excited. Every second is valuable, and you can salvage anything. Like any situation can be salvaged. Anything. I don't care. You can get something positive out of anything. So just think of it as the percentile. 99% negative, but there's 1% positive, or whatever it could be. Just take that as a lesson and move forward. Don't give up.
All right. I appreciate that. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. It was great to learn about your journey, your company's journey, as well as some of the challenges that every business faces, but how you creatively and strategically identified ways to pivot. So I think that's a fantastic growth story right there. Thank you for your time.
Teamwork hard, let's make progress. Getting shit done in business.